Good morning, students. So in the last class, we had completed the electric arc furnace. So in this class, we will learn about what is meant by induction furnace. So as our syllabus, we are having the cupola furnace, crucible furnace, induction furnace, and as well as electric arc furnace. So we had completed the cupola furnace. So electric arc furnace was completed. So we had seen the way the slag is to be get removed and how it is to be get removed in an electric arc furnace, how the impurities and the purity molten metal is to be get differentiated in a cupola furnace, and how much temperature is to be get maintained. So what is the refractory lining of the cupola and as well as the refractory lining of the electric arc furnace. So in the last class, you have learned that in an electric arc furnace, the current is not directly immersed into the metal. So the electrodes are to be get used, which are made up of a graphite. So for that electrodes, which are going to be having a mechanism. So for that one, the current is to be get connected. So the current is flows towards the graphite electrodes, so that the electrodes which are immersed in the metal, it is to be get starts melting. So that is the process which we had observed. So purely the electric arc furnace is used for an steel making. It is mainly used for making process, the electric arc furnace, as of our knowledge. So in this class, we'll learn about what I mean by induction furnace. Clear? So what is meant by induction furnace? What is the option of it? And what is the construction of an induction furnace? What are the different types of materials, raw materials is to be get used? So in electric arc furnace, what we had seen is thing is the scrap is to be get used. Only the scrap is to be get used for an electric arc furnace. So the scrap is of a combination of hot metal, pig iron. So the different tons of scrap are to be get collected from that, and based on the size of the furnace, the raw material is to be get taken. So that is the thing which we had learned in the last class. So in this class, the topic is electric induction furnace. So actually the topic name is an induction furnace, but it is modified into an electric induction furnace, because the induction furnace, the operation also carried towards the electric current only, towards the electric current only. Electric magnetic field is going to be get happen. So with the help of a eddy currents, that is to be get flown over to the metal. So the metal is to be get starts molting. So this is known as an electric induction furnace. So in induction furnace, it is somewhat nominated as electric induction furnace. So now we will see what is the each and every step, how it is to be get constructed and how it is to be get designed. So what are the different raw materials are there for it? Clear? So we'll start from seeing the definition. So in the induction furnace, the main thing is eddy currents, how the eddy currents are being produced, and what is the induction heating. So what is the joule making. So these are the main topics which we are going to get learn. The first thing, the definition, we will learn the definition first. So here the electric induction furnace is a type of the melting furnace, uses electric current to melt the metal. So in the electric arc furnace also, we had in the yesterday class, we had seen that the electric arc furnace is not similar to the induction furnace, because in an electric arc furnace, some electrodes are to be get dipped into the metal basin, So in that, the direct current is not get passed, but here the current is to be get passed over to the metal. So when the current is to be get passed, the metal starts get melting. Clear? So some type of frequency is to be get taken from 50 to 100. So for 50 kilohertz frequency is to be get taken. So some type of scrap material is to be get taken. So the like induction furnace is mainly used in the US, because it is a very easiest process and it is a very short time. The method is to be take over only for 1 hour, only for 1 hour. So it is very short time. So the metal is to get taken. So in the induction furnace, the main point is the copper lining is to be get taken. One type of basin is to get handled, the first part. The second part is the basin is totally having a refractory lining of a crucible refractory lining. So after the crucible part, it is to be get covered with copper part, copper wiring. So in this there are two types. In this there are two types. One is so in this there are two types. So one is the coreless, which is nothing but a copper winding is to be get there. So other one is which is not having a copper winding for an induction furnace. So for an induction furnace which is having a copper winding is, it is in the copper wire is in the form of a hole shape. Hole. It is in the form of a hole shape, which is having a total lining over to the crucible refractory part. Crucible refractory part. So in through that hole, some water is to be get pumped, because when the current is to be get increased more and more, what happens to the total basin? It can't withstand the current. It can't withstand the current, and more heat is to be get generated. So to reduce those heat, the cooled water is to be get sent over to the copper lining, which is having a very hole shape. It is in a hollow shape. The copper lining is a hollow shape, which is to be get used. From one end of the hollow shape, some cool water is to be get pumped in. So from the other end of the hollow shape, the cool water which you had pumped, it is to be get converts into the warm. So the water is to be getting out from the other end of the hollow shape. So this is the main process which is going to be get taken. Clear? So in this one, most of the industries use only the copper hollow shape only, because it is one of the different type of heating consistency was there. At the same time, some melting was there, some cooling is there. So many of the industries starts using only the induction furnace, which is having the wiring only, the copper wiring only. Here, so we will see the electric induction furnace is a type of the melting furnace that uses the electric current to melt metal. Once the molten, the high frequency magnetic field can also be used to stir the hot metal, which is useful in ensuring that alloying additions are fully mixed into the melt. So here also we are going to be taking the scrap. Here also we are going to taking the scrap, and it is to be get starts melting. Clear. So next, the induction furnace are used in most modern foundries as a cleaner method of a melting metals than a reverberatory furnace or a cupola. So in this one, why the induction furnace are more suitable means, in a cupola furnace, after heating, some of the molten metal is going to be sticking over to the walls. So that is to be get cleaned. I also told that when the operation was completed, the total cupola furnace lining is to be get cleaned after completion. But in induction furnace, whatever the metal is to be get start melted, after it is the molten metal was total completed, nothing is to be get there in the induction furnace. It is a very cleaner method. It is very cleaner method. It is all over. The molten metal is to be get taken over to the ladles. Clear. So next one, the sizes ranges from kilogram of capacity to 100 tons capacity. So the sizes ranges from kilogram of capacity to the 100 tons of capacity. And the next one is the metals which are melted in an induction furnace. So the raw materials which are going to be used for to melt an induction furnace, that is nothing but iron and steel, copper, aluminium, and precious metals, because it is a clean and non-contact process. So the metals, whatever it is having a non-contact process, those type of metals are mostly used under a induction furnace. Clear, students? So it can be used in a vacuum or inert atmosphere. Okay, so the vacuum furnace make use of induction heating for production of a specialty steels and other alloys that would oxidize if heated in the presence of air. So in this induction furnace also, the oxidization is to be get starts. So here also the P and S, which are going to be consists of a steel, the phosphorus and the sulfur, which are having in a steel, that is to get oxidized. So in this similar to the electric arc furnace, in an electric arc furnace we had seen that the carbon, the manganese, titanium, tungsten, and the phosphorus, sulfur, nickel, chrome, nickel, those type of elements we had seen. In the same type, here also some of the alloys would get starts oxidize if heated the presence of air. So the basic principle of an induction furnace is the induction heating. So basic principle of an induction furnace, what you are going to be taking, it is to heat. It is to heat whatever the metal is to be get taken with the help of some current. So what is by induction heating? So what is induction heating? The induction furnace, we had seeing the topic that's induction furnace. So what is meant by induction heating? So it is nothing but the non-contacting material is to be get selected, and with the help of electromagnetic induction, where the eddy currents are to be get generated within the metal, and resistance leads to the joule heating of the metal. So here the first point is non-contacting heating materials is to be get selected. Iron, steel, copper, any of the thing. So now, which is having a non-contacting. So those type of materials are to be get selected. So after the material work pieces are placed in a basin, the heating is to be get started. Electrically conducting object by the electromagnetic induction. So from the electromagnetic induction, where the eddy currents will start generating. So through that, the metal and the resistance leads to joule heating of the metal. So what is the principle of this one? Total induction heating. So the main principle is based on the two topics. One is the electromagnetic induction. The second one is a joule heating. Here. So what is meant by electromagnetic induction? So electromagnetic induction is energy transfer to the object to be heated occurs by means of a electromagnetic induction. So it is to be get transferring from one form to the another form. The electrical energy is to be get transferred to one form to the liquid form. So any electrically conductive material placed in a variable magnetic field is a site of induced electric currents called eddy current. So what is meant by eddy current? So you already know which you have learned in an electrical subject. What is meant by eddy current, how it is to be get passed, how it is generated. So that is what type of materials is to be get taken to generate some eddy currents. So which will eventually lead to joule heat. So what is meant by joule heating? So the joule heating, also known as the ohmic heating and resistive heating, is the process by which the passage of an electric current through a conductor releases the heat. So this is also known as a ohmic heating and a resistive heating. So you have to get it out where the total basin is to be get connected. Actually, the total basin is connected to some power supply. It is to be get connected to power supply from which is having some amperes. So from that, it is connected to a some part. So from there, the current is to be get passing. So through a conductor releases the heat. So the heat produced, whatever the heat which is going to produce, that is proportional to the current multiplied by the electrical resistance. So what is the resistance? Electrical resistance, it is to be get multiplied. So next, induction heating relies on the unique characteristics of a radio frequency energy, that portion of the electromagnetic spectrum below the infrared microwave energy. So this is induction heating. It relies on the unique characteristics of radio frequency energy, that portion of an electromagnetic spectrum below infrared and a microwave energy. So since the heat is transferred to the product via electromagnetic waves. So here what is going to be happening? The heat is to be get transferred through the electromagnetic waves. So it is to be get converted into some liquid form. So the electromagnetic waves, the part never comes into a direct contact. So whatever the electromagnetic waves, it is to be get generated to which part. So what type of material you are going to be taking. So the material is having a non-contact condition. Non-contact condition, those type of materials is to be get taken. So it must not having any reactions for a material. So direct contact with any flame, the inductor itself does not get hot, and there is no product contamination. Clear? So the product, the material cannot be get any defects. It cannot be get reacted. It must be as it of. So the induction heating is a rapid cleaning, non-polluting heating. So as of we know that it is a cleaned process, because when there is not having a non-contact condition for a material, how the material can be get stick on toward the refractory lining. So it won't get stick on. After completion of your total melting process, the total thing is to be get taken over, the slag and as well as the pure material is to be get removed from that one. So it is to be get cleaned process. The induction material heating is a cleaned process. So for that sake only induction furnace is to be get used more and more. It is used more and more. So the induction coil is cooled to the touch. The heat that builds up in the coil is constantly cooled with circulating water. So I had told you that the total crucible lining is to be get turned. It is to be get winded with a copper lining. The total crucible refractory lining is winded with a copper lining, and the copper lining is in a hollow shape. It is in a hollow shape where the cool water is to be get pumped over to the copper lining. So from the other end of the copper lining, the warm water is to be get released, so that the total induction furnace gets starts here cooling also at the same time. So what is the features of the induction furnace? So what are the features? So an electric induction furnace requires an electric coil to produce the charge. So the first one is electric coil is to be get required. So this heating coil is eventually replaced. So the crucible in which the metal is placed is made up of a stronger materials that can resist the required heat, and the electric coil itself cooled by a water system so that it does not overheat or melt. So whatever the coils are to be just taken care and more. When a more heat is being produced to the electricity, the coils cannot be get damaged. So to take care of a coil, the other alternative adjustments are to be get needed more and more. So for that sake only, a cooling water system is to be get required. So the advantage of the induction furnace is a clean, energy efficient and a well controllable melting process compared to most other means of a metal melting. So the main advantage, as of the main advantage is a clean process. So it is a very short time. It is very short time. Within a short time, it can be get starts melting. So it is more controllable. So the next one, the induction furnace can ranges in size from a small furnace used for very precise alloys only about a kilogram in weight to a much larger furnace made to mass produce clean metal for many different applications. So before we will see this one, we will see what is the diagram of it. Yeah. So this is a diagram. Clear. So this is the basin which the body of the furnace. This the dark shade, it is nothing but a body of the furnace. So to this body of the furnace, in the inside of the body of the furnace, a crucible lining is to be taken. The crucible refractory material. So this is the thing is this is the crucible refractory material. So towards the crucible refractory material, one winding is to be get there. So you can observe the hose. This is a sectional view. It is a sectional view. So you can observe only the hose. But in a 3D view, you can see a copper winding is to be get winded over to the crucible lining. So it is given it as primary winding. So the total crucible refractory material, it is to be winded with a copper. So the copper which we are used, it is of a hollow shape. Okay, so here these are the materials what you are going to be get placed. So eddy currents are to be get induced in it. So the next one is the molten metal, it is to be get start melting, and the next the flux. So it is an high frequency AC source. So here we are using a AC current, alternating current. So you are using an AC current. So this the total winding is to be get connected to the AC source. So from which the flux is to be get generated. So from the electromagnetic induction, the eddy currents are to be get generated, and as well as start. Clear. So this is the actual process what is going to be happen. Okay, so now we will see what is the features of an induction furnace. Okay. Yeah, So here you had observed that. So what is the size of your body of the furnace? So depends on the size of the body of the furnace, depends on the crucible refractory material of the basin which you had carried over. The material, the kilograms of the material is to be get taken, not a more amount of material is to be get taken. So when the depends on the body for which we are going to be selected, the material is to be get taken, and depends on the material, the current is to be get passed. So what is the frequency? So the starting, it is not put a very high frequency, it is a low frequency. It starts from a low frequency. So the induction furnace can ranges in size from a small furnace used for a very precise alloys, only about a kilogram in weight, to a much larger furnaces made to mass produce clean metal for many different applications. For many different applications. So foundries use this type of furnace, and now also more iron foundries are replacing cupolas with an induction furnace to melt the cast iron, as the former emit lots of dust and other pollutants. So the in an induction furnace, it is a very small unit. It is a very small unit. There is no required a very more workspace. So as of a cupola furnace, it is a large process. It is a large process. We have to be arranged in a sequence manner, so it is to be get heated in a correct manner. So each and every, you are going to be getting a 3 zones, and the 3 zones must be, you have to be have a keen observation, and it is a time taking process, and it is more and more the some of the complications are more compared to a induction furnace. So induction furnace, it is a very just a part, and it is within a very short span of time you can get starts melting the cast iron. So as the former emits lots of the dust and other pollutants. So dust and everything is to be get reduced also. So the constructions of induction furnace, there are many different design of the electric induction furnace, but there are center around the basic idea. So the electrical coil is placed around or inside of the crucible, so which holds the metal to be get melted. Often this crucible is divided into two different parts. So the lower section holds the metal in its purest form, the metal as the manufacturer desires it, while the higher section is used to remove the slag, the contaminants that rise to the surface of the melt. So the lower section which holds the lower basin of the lower basin which holds to melt the purest form. So whereas you are going to be get collected, whereas the upper, the higher section is used to remove the slag. Okay. So the crucibles may also be equipped with strong lips to lessen how much air has access to the melting metal until it is poured out, making it purest metal. So in this one, it is nearly 55% to 75% of the pure metal can be get produced. 55% to 75% of the metal can be get have molten. Molten metal is to be get produced. So other thing is a slag. The other thing is a slag. So, what are the types of induction furnace? So before going to this one, we will have a one video. So this is the body of the furnace. So in this inside of the body of the furnace, a crucible with a refractor lining is to be get arranged. So the primary winding, which is a water cooled. So this is the part which is to be get used. Okay, so this is the thing which is just having a winded to a crucible part. So this is a crucible inside. So this is the body of the furnace, and it is a copper coil. These are the copper coils which are used. So this copper coils is made up of a hollow shape. So from where one end is to be get used to send a cool water. From the other end, the water is to be get warm, and it is to be get out. It is to be passed out. So these are the work pieces which is to be get used. That nothing but a scrap what is to be used to get starts the melting. So how the electric current is to be get produced? So for this primary winding, the AC current is to be get connected through this. The electrical arc electromagnetic conduction is to be get starts, and the flux starts and eddy currents will generate through. So these are the eddy currents which are going to be generated over the materials through which the metal starts get melting. So this is a molten metal. So this is the total process. So in this purely we are going to be seeing that direct the current is to be get attacking over to the workpiece. It is attacking over to the workpiece. It is not a alternating part. It is directly connecting. So this is the process how it is to be. So this is the scrap which is going to be taken over to get starts melting by using an induction furnace. So this is an induction furnace. Induction furnace which is used. So in this induction furnace, so this is the wires which are connected to a AC current. Clear. So from this induction furnace, the total the scrap is to be get starts melting. After completion of the molten metal, you are going to be get taken over to the ladles, and it is to be get used for a casting. So here they had given a mold heating. So this is nothing but the process is started a casting process. Casting process is started here. So here they had taken a two molds. They are taking a two molds. Primarily those are to be get heated. So the second one is they are you are going to be it is to be get arranged. The cope and the drag is to be get arranged. So after that you are having sprue. You are having a sprue and as well as a riser for each and every modes. So from this one the molten metal is to be get poured. So this is the molten metal how they are going to be pouring. So it explains that it is to be get starts cooling. Okay. So this the figure which I am showing here, it is nothing but the induction furnace, how it is to be get used in a casting process. All type of furnaces which are used to be get start melting of metals only, but here the diagram shows that how what is the type of scrap they had selected, how it is to be get start melting, and what is the next molding process, the molding or any other molding process, what is going to be get taken, and how it is to be get arranged, how the metal is to be get poured to the ladles, and after that how it is to be get starts cooling. Yes, friends. So this is known as your electric arc furnace. Okay. Okay, so it is an electric arc furnace. So the next one is types of induction furnace. So as I had told you, there are two types of induction furnace. One is a coreless. So coreless is nothing but a copper wire is to be get just winded, and a copper wire which is having a hollow shape. So there are the two main types of induction furnace. One is a coreless and a channel. Coreless induction furnace and a channel induction furnace. Those are two types. So the first thing is under the coreless induction furnace, the heart of the coreless induction furnace is a coil. So the main part here used in a coreless induction furnace is a coil, which consists of a hot section heavy duty, high conductivity copper tubing which is wound into a helical coil. So clear. So the copper winding is to be get done towards the part, the crucible, which we are going to be taken. So the copper which is to be get used, it is a very heaviest part. So coil shape is contained within a steel shell. Coil shape is contained within a steel shell to protect it from overheating the coil. It is in water. It is the water is to be get cool. So whatever the coil it is to be get wounded, it is to be get over it is to be having overheating process, so it is to be get cooled. So how the cooling is to be get taken, so when it is having a more heating and heating, any complications get starts. So to cope up those type of complications, it starts cooling. So how the cooling is to be get taken, so to cool the copper wire, the cooled water is to be get sent over from one end, the other end it is to be get taken over. So the crucible is formed by ramming a granular refractory between a coil and a hollow internal. So a crucible is formed by ramming a granule refractory between a coil and a hollow internal. So the coreless induction furnace is commonly used to melt all grades of the steels. So this coreless induction furnace is used to melt all types of grades of the steels, all types. So which is having a steels combinations also. Those type of steels can also be starts melting by using a coreless induction furnace, and as well as in irons, as well as a many number of non-ferrous alloys. So these are the three types which can be used by a coreless induction furnace, which is more used. So next one, channel induction furnace. So the first one you had seen it. The thing is, one is a coreless induction furnace. So the second one is channel induction furnace. So the channel induction furnace consists of a refractory lined steel shell which contains the molten metal attached to the steel shield and connected by a throat. Is an induction unit which forms the melting component of the furnace. So here some channel is to get used, which is that attached to the steel shell. So from that some cooling consistent is to be get taken over so that it can be get cool. So the induction unit consists of an iron ore in the form of a ring around which a primary induction coil is wound. So around a primary induction coil, so this induction unit is to be get taken over. So the induction unit consists of an iron ore in the form of a ring around which a primary induction coil is to be get wound. So the next, this assembly forms a simple transformer in which the molten metal loops compromises the secondary components. So you can imagine that one type of wire is to be get taken over the wire. So it is to be get covered over the wire. It is to be get covered. That is nothing but a channel induction furnace. Where in a coreless induction furnace, the copper wire which is to be get taken, it is in a hollow sheet. But in a channel induction furnace, whatever the wire you are get taken, it is to be get covered with another material so that it starts get cooling. So this assembly forms a simple transformer in which the molten metal loops compromises the secondary components. So the heat generated within the loop that causes the metal to circulate into a main well of the furnace. So the circulation of the molten metal affects useful stirring action in the melt. So the channel induction furnace are commonly used for melting low melting point alloys. So this channel induction furnace is only used for low melting point alloys, whereas the coreless induction furnace it is used for steel, iron, and non-ferrous alloys. So and or as a holding and superheating unit for higher melting alloys such as a cast iron. So for this channel induction furnace is used for these parts. One is a low melting alloys, the other is a superheating unit for high melting alloys such as cast iron. Okay, so what are the advantages? Is higher yield. So in higher yield, the absence of the combustion sources reduces the losses that can be significant in the production economics. So it is of a higher yield. So there is no, and there is an absence of a combustion sources which reduces the oxidation losses. So in this, we are not having a combustion zone or a reducing zone. So which is to be one of the advantage for it. So the faster startup. So as I had told you, it is a very faster time. Within a less time, you had start complete your work. So faster startup, full power from power supply is available instantaneously, thus reducing the time to reach working temperature. So when the induction furnace is to be get starting, the power is to be get starts continuously. It is not to be get stopped in the middle. It is to be given continuously. So next, flexibility. So a no molten metal is necessary to start medium frequency coreless induction melting equipment. So no molten metal is necessary to start the medium frequency coreless induction melting equipment. So no molten metal is to get required. So to start your induction furnace. So next one is natural stirring. So they here in this one in an induction furnace, it is not required any type of stirring activities. It is normally a natural stirring. So medium frequency units can give a strong stirring action, resulting in a homogeneous melt. Resulting in a homogeneous melt. So cleaner melting. So we are going to be using a non-contact. So automatically it will be a cleaner melting. So no byproduct are produced due to the clean melting environment. So whatever the environment you have going to be taken depends on that. No other reactions is to be get starting for your melting quantity, melting liquid. So the next one is compact installation. High melting rates can be obtained from a small furnace. So high melting rates can be get obtained with a small furnace. So they will be use only a small furnace it compared to a very large furnace. So I had told you overall energy efficiency in an induction melting ranges from 55 to 75%. This I had already told you. The energy efficiency in an induction melting ranges, it starts from 55 to 75% and is significantly better than a combustion process. It is totally better than a combustion process. So the disadvantages is one major drawback to the induction furnace usage in a foundry, that is the lack of refining capacity. The charge of the material must be clean of oxidization products and of known composition, and some alloying elements may be lost during oxidation. So automatically when the scrap is to be get taken, some alloying elements are to be get generates, it is going to get having, so it is to be get lost when this type of induction furnace is to be get taken due to the oxidization. So the removal of sulfur and phosphorus is limited in a steels. So removal of the sulfur and phosphorus is limited. So in a steel, you are going to be having two elements. One is a sulfur and one is a phosphorus. So that is removing of that one is limit, only a limit. So selection of charges with less impurity is required. So when the induction furnace is going to be used, whatever the scrap is to be get taken, it must have a very less impurities, not a more impurities. When it is having a more impurities, the number of elements get starts more and more. So to reduce those one, to you have to be select a correct type of scrap to start your furnace melting. Clear? So these are nothing but what is meant by your induction, electric induction furnace. Clear, students? So in this one, you have to understand one thing only. The electric and induction furnace is starts with the help of an electromagnetic fields through which the eddy currents will be get generates over to the workpiece and starts melting. So here the another point is the electric current is directly having a contact to the workpiece, having a contact to the workpiece, and here a non-contact materials is to be get used, not a very contact materials, it is non-contact materials is to be get used. And electric induction furnace, it is a very easiest process, which is a short time it can be get complete. So it is mostly used in an industries. So it is a cleaning process, it is a very cleaning process. So the process after completing, nothing is to be get stick over to the walls. So here the most of the operation is used by using coreless. It is a coreless. It is not a channel induction furnace. It is to be used a coreless induction furnace. In a coreless induction furnace, why it is used is a copper lining is to be get there. So in the copper lining is made up of a hollow shape, and the copper lining gets starts heating more and more when the electric power is to be get generated over to that. So to reduce the heating consistent of the copper wire, so we are going to be sending over the cooled water. So over to the hollow shape of the copper, which is winded to the crucible. So from that, the copper wire is to be get starts cooling. It is not to be too hot. So after that, after having a certain cooling consistent, the warm water is to be get vanish out. Okay, so some electric current is to be get produced, AC current is to be get used here, not a DC or any other thing. Three-phase current, you are using an AC current. Clear? So these are the main points we are going to be understood. So in this, the first point is induction heating. So what is meant by induction heating? So what is the type of thing is to be get happen? So it is the induction furnace is used only for steel, iron, and non-ferrous alloys. So those are the raw materials. It is used in induction furnace include iron and steel, copper, aluminium, precious metals. So whatever the metals is to be get taken under a induction furnace, it must have less impurities, not a more impurities. So in this induction furnace, the taking of a slag is, it is somewhat difficult. Taking of a slag, it is somewhat difficult because the induction furnace is not having a construction of taking a slag from one end and taking a purity from one end. So from the top base only, we have to take the slag. So from the bottom lowering, you have to get collected from the basin the purity molten metal. So in this process, 55 to 75% of efficiency is to be get happening. Okay, so this process is telling that it is generates electrical power, electrical energy is to be get starts generating over to the liquid part. Okay, so this type is to be get used more in an industry. So clear students, this is what is meant by electric furnace. So this is meant by what is meant by electric induction furnace. Copper induction core, molten metal, and a cover. Okay, so this is meant by induction furnace. So in the next class, we will learn about what is crucible furnace. So your leftover topic is crucible furnace, how it is to be get used, what are the different types of crucible furnace are to be get there. So that is the thing which used to be get used. Okay. So the crucible furnace. So this is the crucible furnace. So it is of a different four types. It is a four types, and here the crucible furnace is for a melting of a non-ferrous metals. It is used for a non-ferrous metals, the crucible furnace, and the range of the crucible furnace is 30 to 150 kg, the capacity of that one. So here you are going to be having the pit furnace, oil-fired tilting furnace, the coke-fired stationary furnace, and a pot furnace. Clear students? So these all furnaces are used for different types of metals. It is not commonly used for a second metal. So some type of furnace is used for some type of metal. So other type of furnace is used for another type of metals. So you can't use only the one type of furnace for all the types of materials. Clear? So the difference is there. So what is going to be happening? Okay. So in the next class, we will learn about what is the different types of, what is another type of furnace, crucible furnace. So with this crucible, we will complete our total types of furnace which are there as per your syllabus. So as per your third unit, so after completion of the furnaces, we can start the general design considerations for the casting. Okay, from the next class, we can start general design considerations for the casting. Okay, students, one more thing, we had gotten instructions to give the assignments. Okay, the assignments will be get given to you. It is to be get submitted with the written form only. It is to be get written and it is to be get posted. Okay, we had gotten instructions, and we have to get some clarity on that, and we as per the clarity we will give the questions to you. So we have to, you have to get submit those all. Yeah. Okay, shall I end the session? Okay, you can leave, students.